a dreamer, but my heart's of gold. I had a runaway.
Inside Vladimir Putin's reported $26 billion pursuit of longevity lies a fascinating mix of science, ambition, and national strategy. From genetically engineered mini pigs and organ printing to cryotherapy, regenerative medicine, and advanced genetic research, Russia appears to be investing heavily in extending both lifespan and health span.
What makes this story intriguing is not simply the science itself, but the fact that longevity research has become a priority at the highest levels of government. Meanwhile, here in the United States, President Trump recently stated that his latest medical examination went perfectly, reflecting a broader cultural fascination with staying healthy, energetic, and capable as we age.
Whether through technology, medicine, lifestyle, or mindset, the global conversation around longevity continues to grow, raising important questions about what it truly means not only to live longer, but to live better. The general consensus? Most people are not interested in simply accepting decline as an inevitable outcome of aging. While previous generations may have viewed growing older as a process to endure, today's innovators, researchers, and everyday people are actively searching for ways to optimize health, preserve vitality, and extend quality of life. In a lighthearted sense, you could say we are all trying to biohack our way toward a healthier future, seeking not just more years in life, but more life in our years.
Look to your elders. Alfre Woodard shares her secret to Hollywood longevity. That's the thing about accumulating years is people take away your humanity when they look at you, she says. But, just like anybody playing music, anybody painting, the longer you do it, the more fine-tuned you are at it. We're constantly in the process of becoming more of our true selves.
So look to your elders. So here we go, comparing humans, AI, longevity, machines and mortgages. Picture this. It's the week before Thanksgiving, a grocery store is packed, carts are full, and people are doing that last big haul, turkeys, pies, the whole deal. Then, in the back of the store, a freezer goes down. Not a little glitch. A real failure.
And suddenly you've got spoiled inventory, frantic phone calls, an emergency repair bill, and a manager trying to explain to angry customers why the thing they came for is gone.
And the wild part is, everyone thinks of the loss as the spoiled turkeys. But the bigger hit is trust. Customers who came in for that holiday shop might just leave and not come back. Exactly. And that moment, freezer failure right before a major holiday, is a perfect doorway into what we're talking about today, longevity. Not the celebrity version of longevity, not the live forever in a luxury wellness villa version, the organizational version, how companies can make both their machines and their people last longer.
Because most leaders hear asset management and immediately picture physical stuff. HVAC units, warehouse robotics, truck fleets, refrigeration, infrastructure, big-ticket equipment, right? And all of that matters. But there's a second category of asset that gets treated like it's replaceable, like it's a consumable, the people who keep all of that running.
So today we're going to connect two ideas that companies usually keep in separate rooms: preventive maintenance for equipment and what we might call preventive maintenance for the workforce. And the connecting thread is analytics, specifically models that predict what might happen next, and prescriptive tools that suggest what to do about it. Next best actions, real-time guidance, a shared playbook that prevents small issues from becoming expensive disasters. Let's set the stage. Organizations are under pressure from both directions. Machines are aging, facilities are expanding, operations are scaling, and staffing often isn't scaling at the same pace.
Plus, there's a labor market reality that's not going away. Fewer people are entering skilled trades. Electrical, plumbing, mechanical repair. A lot of companies are discovering that you can't maintain a growing footprint with a shrinking pipeline of technicians, which creates this vicious cycle. Not enough technicians means maintenance gets postponed. Maintenance gets postponed until something breaks. Then everyone scrambles. And that scramble feels normal in many organizations. It's almost a culture. Wait for failure, then respond heroically. But that's a kind of short-term thinking that quietly drains the future. Because it might look cheaper today, you're not paying for preventive work, you're not pulling assets offline for service, you're not investing in new systems, but you're basically borrowing from tomorrow, and tomorrow charges interest. And interest shows up as emergency service calls, lost revenue, wasted labor, and reputational damage. It shows up as chaos. There's also a mindset problem in how many facilities teams track asset status. A lot of organizations treat equipment like a light switch. It's either working or it's broken. But longevity lives in the in-between states. The gasket that's starting to leak, the motor that's strained but hasn't failed yet, the filter that's slowly clogging, those are weak signals, and they're gold because they show you the future before it arrives. So if you can detect those signals early, you can extend the life of the equipment. That's the essence of preventive maintenance. And now the big shift. We actually have the tools to do that at scale. Real-time data, connectivity, analytics, prescriptive models that don't just tell you what happened, but suggest what to do next.
Let's go back to that grocery story, but widen it. Imagine a regional grocer with, say, 80 stores, and across those stores about 8,000 refrigeration assets. In that world, skipping preventive maintenance doesn't mean you get the occasional breakdown. It means breakdowns become part of the daily routine. Every day, some unit fails somewhere, and with refrigeration, the clock starts ticking immediately.
It's lost inventory. It's an emergency dispatch. It's staff time rerouted into damage control. It's customers seeing empty shelves. It's revenue that never happens. And it's the kind of failure that hits at the worst time, like that week before Thanksgiving. You might calculate the cost of the spoiled turkeys, but the harder thing to calculate is the customer who says forget it, abandons their whole cart, and decides next year they'll shop somewhere else. So prescriptive systems aim to block that chain reaction. Instead of waiting for the freezer to die, you look for predictors, like a gasket starting to fail or ventilation trending toward restricted airflow. And here's where it gets really practical. If you connect prescriptive analytics to your ticketing system, you can do more than fix the one broken unit. A technician gets dispatched for an urgent repair, and the system says, while you're there, 2 nearby assets are showing early warning signs. Hit those too, which is basically multiplying labor. You're not hiring more people, you're using the same headcount with better intelligence, so each visit prevents multiple future failures. That matters in a world of scarcity. If skilled technicians are hard to find, then you need your systems to make every hour count.
Hey, now comes the twist. That logic doesn't only apply to machines. Right, people have weak signals too. And when organizations ignore those signals, stress, overload, confusion, constant context switching, human performance degrades, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. Eventually, it looks like burnout, errors, injuries, disengagement, or turnover.
And turnover is one of those costs companies underestimate because it's not labeled like a broken compressor, but it's absolutely a breakdown. When someone leaves, the organization loses accumulated value, knowledge, judgment, speed, relationships, and the loss has a ripple effect. Remaining employees pick up extra load, the system gets tighter, stress rises, more people consider leaving. It's the workforce version of deferred maintenance.
So what's the workforce equivalent of a prescriptive maintenance system? Prescriptive guidance inside the workflow. Tools that deliver real-time insights and instructions right when someone is making a decision, so they don't have to carry the whole cognitive burden alone.
This is important. It's not about adding another dashboard no one checks. It's about reducing cognitive overload by surfacing the next best action at the moment it matters.
For a frontline worker, that might be a simple alert that prevents a wasted trip or stops duplicated work. For a technician, it could be a recommendation that says, you're already at this site. Here's the preventive action worth doing now. For facility managers, it could look like guidance that helps balance the urgent stuff with the preventive stuff. Because the urgent stuff will always try to swallow the whole day. And for executives, it can become a different kind of visibility. Not just lagging metrics like breakdown counts and turnover rate, but leading indicators. Where stress is building, where workload is spiking, where systems are becoming brittle. So instead of waiting for a resignation email or a safety incident, you're seeing the early warnings and responding earlier.
Which is the same philosophy we just applied to machines. Extend the life of the asset by caring for it before it fails.
And this isn't just about being nice. It's about building a workforce that can sustain high performance without burning out. Careers that last, not short stints that churn. Because when you keep people longer, you keep institutional knowledge longer. You preserve the muscle memory of the organization. You get compounding returns. So there's a theme emerging. The organizations that endure treat downtime as unacceptable, whether that downtime is a refrigeration unit failing or a team losing capability because people are exhausted and leaving. And they also understand something that's brutally true. Replacing assets is almost always more expensive than extending their lifespan. Let's sit in that for a second. Replacing a machine is expensive, sure. But replacing a person, especially one with experience, is also expensive and often more disruptive than leaders want to admit. Exactly. The cost isn't just recruiting, it's onboarding. It's slower execution. It's mistakes that experienced people wouldn't make. It's the hidden tax of instability. So how do resilient organizations actually operationalize this? How do they turn it into habits and systems, not just good intentions?
There's a practical playbook. First, audit your sensing and analytics capabilities. Are you even capturing the signals that precede equipment stress? Or are you blind until failure?
Second, plug prescriptive intelligence into the tools people already use, especially ticketing systems and technician workflows, so preventive actions happen alongside urgent repairs, not as a separate nice-to-have that gets postponed.
Third, route labor intelligently. Don't dispatch for one breakdown at a time if you can route technicians to clusters of at-risk assets. That's how you take scarce labor and make it feel less scarce.
Fourth, deliver real-time prescriptive guidance to employees, not in theory, not in a binder, not in a training that happened 6 months ago, in the actual work. That's how you reduce stress and help people make better decisions under pressure. And fifth, treat longevity of equipment and of the workforce as a top-tier asset strategy. Invest in proactive care instead of paying for reactive fixes over and over. That last piece is where leadership discipline comes in. Preventive maintenance and prescriptive guidance both cost something up front.
And that's why so many organizations hesitate. The benefits show up later. Meanwhile, the budgeting pain shows up now.
But the payoff is an enterprise that endures. Machines running longer, fewer catastrophic breakdowns, people staying longer, less burnout, more resilience. Now I want to zoom out for a moment because longevity has been having a cultural moment. You can't miss it. Wealthy people flying to longevity conferences, clinics opening with high-gloss branding, luxury homes being redesigned as wellness systems. It's the whole what if aging is optional storyline. Clinics led by famous doctors, longevity suites, biohacking at home, financial firms placing bets on the business of aging. And then you've got headline culture sprinkled in.
Some of it is serious science, some of it is marketing, and some of it is just status signaling. But the reason it's relevant here is that companies can get distracted by the shiny version of longevity and miss the operational version.
Because organizational longevity isn't a luxury product, it's a discipline. It's about noticing weak signals early and acting before breakdown becomes the default. And the other big headline trend circling all of this is AI, especially in healthcare. AI agents that can coordinate workflows, help doctors make faster decisions, push care toward prediction instead of reaction. In some ways, that healthcare shift is a mirror. Hospitals moving from treating crises to predicting risks, systems becoming more networked, discovery accelerating because models can find patterns humans can't, which is basically the same shift we're describing in operations, from reactive to predictive and prescriptive. But there's a caution here. Tools don't create resilience by themselves. Intelligence has to be integrated into how work actually happens. Otherwise, it becomes another layer of noise. Okay, before we close, I want to throw in what feels like a completely different topic, but it's secretly the same story. The stress of mortgage rates. Yes, rates bouncing around, buyers not knowing when to lock in, economists debating what happens next. It's this constant uncertainty that gets into people's heads.
And the reason it connects is this. Volatility creates cognitive load. When your environment is unpredictable, you spend more mental energy just trying to make basic decisions. Which is exactly what happens inside organizations that run on reactive fire drills. People aren't just doing work, they're constantly guessing what's about to break, what crisis is next, whether they're about to get pulled into an emergency. So whether it's a home buyer staring at rates swinging back and forth, or a technician staring at a backlog of tickets, the human experience is similar. Uncertainty drains capacity.
Prescriptive systems, when done well, reduce that uncertainty. They help people stop improvising every minute. They give a clearer path through the noise.
So the resolution of today's story isn't a miracle longevity pill. It's a shift in how we define and protect our assets.
Machines and people both have lifespans. Both can degrade fast if neglected, and both can last longer when we notice the early signals and act with discipline.
If you're a leader listening to this, maybe the question isn't, how do we fix what's broken? Maybe the question is, what's quietly fraying right now, and do we have the systems to see it? And if you can see it, can you prescribe the next best action before it becomes a crisis? Because that's how you build an organization that doesn't just survive the next quarter, but actually endures.
Please subscribe at IamHealthyMoney.com and visit us at Q&A with Kim and Ray on YouTube. It would mean so much more than you know. I will continue to bring you fascinating subjects with all the research so you don't have to do it all alone. We will learn together. And then wait until the end of each video for a sneak peek into the next research project. Life has its ups and downs, but you're not alone.
From 10 to 110, we're in this together, right here, right now.
We love ya.